Welcome back. It's Bree with 6 Hearts on 6 Acres. I am here with Ella and Olivia, and today we are going to up-pot our brassicas that we planted together. They are all growing great. They have true leaves, and their roots have completely filled the tray that they're in, the 76 cell tray, and so it's time to move them up to a bigger pot. We're going to up-pot them into these little 3-inch pots that I got the other day that I showed you on camera. I wasn't sure about them. I'm still not 100% sure about them, but I have them, so I'm going to at least use one package of them and see how well that they work. My favorite soil to use is ProMix compressed potting mix. They didn't have that yet at my local stores, so I just went with what they had, which is this Schultz Premium Plus potting mix. It does have fertilizer in it. I don't worry about buying organic soil or organic seeds. I just err on the side of I'm growing these at home. I know what's going into them for the most part, and they're way healthier than anything that I'm going to get from the store. So I don't worry too much about an organic label. Let me show you what our plants look like. So this is about how tall they are. They are beautiful and healthy. It's nice and breezy out here. They're getting a little bit of sunshine. They have, so let me show you this one. They have true leaves, and then these leaves are the cotyledon. These are the leaves that hold all the energy that the seed needs to pop up out of the seed starting mix and to grow these true leaves. So once these true leaves are, the true leaves look like what you're actually expecting the plant leaves to look like. Once you have those leaves, it is time to up-pot, and it is time to start feeding your plants, whether that is through a soil mixture that already has fertility added in, or by fish emulsion fertilizer that has the added nitrogen. I like to start with the soil, and then as they get bigger, I will start fertilizing with that nitrogen fish fertilizer as well. And Avery just woke up from her nap, and she's going to join us as well. Are you in the sunshine? All right, so let's get started. We're going to do some chain production here. So Ella is going to fill our pots with soil. Olivia is going to label them, and then they will pass them to me, and Avery and I will get them planted into their pots. So I'm going to show you the bottom of this tray to show you one way that you know it is time to up-pot your plants is, do you see all of those white stringy roots on the bottom of this? My roots have completely filled my cells. That is one thing that you're going to look for, as well as having true leaves. So the best way to do this is just to push up on the bottom and pop that plant out. Try and keep your roots intact. So that is a really healthy artichoke plant. I'm super happy with that. I'm ecstatic with the root growth. They look gorgeous. This is 2 plants. So I'm going to separate this and give myself both plants instead of snipping one off. You can do either way. I'm growing for my parents as well, like I've said many times. So we're going to keep both. And I have great roots on both plants. So what I'm going to do is just take my container. I'm going to make myself a hole in here. I like to pick out, so potting mix has some chunks of like compost that's not broken down yet. So like pieces of wood you'll find a lot of time. If they're big, I like to throw them out just because I feel like they kind of get in the way of your plant and of the roots. But I just make a good sized deep hole in there. And then I'm going to plop that plant down in there and just compress the soil around it so it has a nice firm foundation. And there we go, there's our first up-potted artichoke. There's a kitty up there. I'm gonna put them in here, and then you're gonna fill it in, okay? This Ruby Perfection is such a dark, beautiful color. Show it. Go show the camera. Smile. What are you doing? Huh? Get your big paws out there. What you doing? Huh? What you doing? You don't get enough love. Say hi, camera. Chris, get down. Get down, buddy. Chris, get down. Come on. Come on. Ah! All right, we are on our very last 2 rows. I'm going to show you kind of a close-up of exactly what I'm doing. So I have my little soil cup. It is labeled so I don't mix up what my plants are once they're in these bigger containers. I take 2 fingers and just make a deep hole almost down to the bottom. And then I pop this plant up with as many roots attached as I can. You can kind of see that the roots go all the way through. This is a, what is this, a snow crown cauliflower. And then I'm going to, whoops, I filled my hole back. I'm going to push this plant in until this soil is about level with the soil that I have in there. I might put it a little bit deep, but you don't want to cover much of your stem up when you're doing brassicas. They're not like tomatoes where you can bury the stem deep. An interesting little fact is that your brassicas, so your broccoli, your cauliflower, your cabbage, your Brussels sprouts, kale, they are all the exact same plant. In the native, we bred them to be able to bring out specific traits for each plant. So that's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty interesting how we can breed plants to have them make what we need to be able to feed ourselves. Again, they're not genetically modified. They are just bred to bring out a certain trait. Some of these plants are hybrid, which means they were bred to have a specific trait about them. So like this white Corona cauliflower that I planted, it's bred to produce really quickly. But a lot of them that I'm planting are heirlooms. This broccoli plant is quite a bit behind all of the others. So I'm going to say that it's probably dead and is not going to perform well. So we're just going to toss it compared to the size of the rest of them. Look how pretty that plant is. That's a snow crown cauliflower. Oh, I said broccoli. I meant cauliflower. That was a small cauliflower. We're moving on to the very last row, which is the purple of Sicily cauliflower. I grew these last year and I couldn't ever get them to come to head, but they are supposed to be a really pretty purple cauliflower. I am trying again, and I'm going to put them in a different location in my garden to see if I have better results. Last year they were in a part shade bed, so this year I'm going to put them in full sun. And hope and pray that I get some purple cauliflower out of them. I'm doing another purple cauliflower variety as well, called Purple Moon. They are not ready to pot up just yet. But surely out of 2 of the varieties, I will get a purple cauliflower in my garden this year. What I left in this tray right here is just this row. You can see these plants are tiny. They just, I don't know what that is. They just germinated last night, and these are our tango celery. So I'm going to keep these in here for quite a while longer still. All right, these freshly up potted plants are now under lights that are about 2 to 3 inches above the plant. You want it pretty close so that they're not reaching for that light. I'm going to give them a good water to reduce transplant shock, and we will watch them continue to grow. I'm just using water to water them. I'm not giving any fish fertilizer at this time. There's this other tray. Most of it is not ready to be transplanted yet until you get to this Napa Mitchell cabbage. And it is pretty big already and filling out. There's roots coming out of the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and just pull this and transplant it. These plants next to it will be ready very soon, like probably at the end of the week. Their roots aren't at the bottom yet. But they do have their first set of true leaves. So they will be ready very soon. This is that Napa Mitchell cabbage. This is a really beautiful plant. The roots are filling the entire soil and coming out the bottom. So we know it's ready to be transplanted into a bigger pot. There are 2 here. So I'm just going to gently kind of pull them apart. If you break a few of the roots, it is okay. Plants are resilient. Just be as gentle as possible and kind of work them apart as easy as you can to make sure that each plant has a good amount of roots. So these are separated, and I'm going to put each one individually into a new pot. Really firm up that soil around it so it stands up tall. And that's all you do. Take the second one and just plop it into container number 2. This is not a hard process. It can be time consuming if you're doing a lot of plants, but it is something that is necessary. We don't start our plants out in big containers. We do the up-potting process because if you start them out too big, they have a hard time growing their roots to fill that container, and then they're slow to put on leaf growth. So I want my plants to be able to fill just a small container with roots and then focus on leaf growth, and then we will continue to up pot so they can continue that process. These won't need up potted again before they go out because they are cold crops. They can go out before our last frost. Honestly, with the weather that we've been having right now, we're in 60s during the day and 30s at night, but above freezing. They really honestly could go out. They could go out in this weather, but our typical average last frost for my area is April 20th. So I don't usually put plants out this early. And I'm assuming that this is probably just a false spring that we're having, and it's going to get cold again. Even though right now that's not what the forecast is showing, I'm going to play it on the safe side and not put anything in my garden not put any of these plants in my garden anyways, for probably at least 3 more weeks. But they can easily live in this size pot for 3 weeks. These Pro Hex containers do make it a little bit harder to get your plant out than like the burpee containers that I was using. And I told you I didn't love the burpee containers. I do really like the ease of getting the plants out of them. What I don't like is the life span of them for the price. I don't think they're worth it. I would like to really save up and purchase either from Epic Gardening or from Bootstrap Farmer, which is where my 1020, my colorful 1020 trays are from. But they're expensive, and right now I'm not going to invest in that. So, cheap Amazon finds it is. I want to show you on this one. Do you see how these cotyledon are yellow? That does not mean that your plant is struggling. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. Cotyledon, like I said, are what your plant needs to pop out of the soil and to grow these true leaves. Once that is done, that is all those cotyledon are for. So they're going to get yellow, they're going to dry up, and they're going to fall off your plant. Some people just pinch them off and remove them. I don't do that. I just let them stay to make sure that they give all of the nutrients they can. But that yellow doesn't concern me at all. Now, if there was yellowing on my true leaves of my plant, then I would think that there was something wrong, that they needed more nitrogen. But at this point, the true leaves are bright green and look great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I got all of my brassicas up potted into larger containers. I am counting down the days until I can get them into the garden. As long as our weather cooperates, I feel like it's not going to be long. I hope I've encouraged you to grow your own plants in your own backyard, grow your own food, reap your own harvest, and really enjoy the creation that God has given us and the ability to work with your hands and produce food for your family. Have a good day and God bless.